MaJaMa Jams is brought to you by
MaJaMa. MaJaMa. MaJaMa.
What are you waiting for?
Welcome back, everyone, to MaJaMa Jams, a show where we discuss other people's work to avoid doing our own. And as you can see by just the dynamic duo here on the couch, welcome back to MaJaMa -1, a new series without my brother, who hates when I blah 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 more than anything else on the face of the planet Earth. So me and the Italian are going to discuss some movie-based topics rather than movies. And today, guys, is something that I feel like, Matteo, I've been having more and more of a personal revelation about. This is not exactly a unique topic, and this is not a topic that has not been explored, but modern day movies seem to have been infected by nothing but IPs. If any of you are watching who don't know what that is, intellectual property, it feels like in the modern times it is nothing but franchises, reboots of old things like Turtles, superheroes, Masters of the Universe, toy lines, old things, IPs. And again, this has been covered, but Matteo, I just feel like more and more I have been seeing the cracks of this. I've been blessed the early part of this year to see some movies, original, old and new, that really resonated with me. Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die by Gore Verbinski behind Pirates and Rango.
Are any of you even listening to me?
Came out of nowhere, electrified me in ways I haven't felt about media since I was a kid. No joke, I don't even say this with comedic hyperbole. I made that movie my entire personality. I preach to people about it. I need to show it to the Italian here to see if he likes it. If he doesn't, I'm ending the friendship. Beautiful, wonderful, comedic, zany, satirical, wit teeth, modern, ahead of its time, everything.
Well, this is actually kind of hard to explain.
Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie duo comes out of friggin' Canada to win my Canadian comic-loving heart with a zany friggin' tale of time travel and friendship. And then I got to see David Fincher's immortal Fight Club back on the big screen.
You do not talk about Fight Club.
And that, Matteo, I think was the moment when I realized that we are not making movies anymore. We're not making movies anymore. Now I come to you, my friend, as a supporter and lover of the MCU, the Marvel movies. Mm-hmm. Now there is perhaps no better indicator of what modern movies are than the upcoming Doomsday, which is going to run approximately 16 days long running time, and feature every actor who's ever breathed and even showed up in a Marvel movie for 5 seconds. The budget, I think, is $8 billion. I think Africa is starving because they took all the resources from it to make this, and it's a huge gamble. Now, my buddy Matteo here, in one of the most comedic moments of our friendship, when Infinity War ended, came over to us and was like, "Hey, guys, there's a lot of characters. I think I'm out." Meanwhile, cut to me and Matthew frothing at the mouth from superhero glee. We split from there, so he still has not seen Endgame. But he was already out because of the orginess of the characters at this point. Matteo, as a non-Marvel obsessive, I should say, what are you thinking? I don't know if you've heard as much, but if you've heard peripherally, I'm going to start with this. I'm going to go through a couple examples of the modern, I think the IP infection, we'll call it. But what's your take on Doomsday from whatever you have heard about it?
I honestly don't know. I've heard very, very, very little. Just because of my disinterest at this point with the whole thing. I heard that Marvel kind of like stuck the landing with Infinity. No, not
Infinity Slide. They're kind of considered one big thing. Infinity War / Endgame.
But then it started to stumble over this. So.
Hey, everybody! Look at me! I'm so f***ing cool! Yeah!
This is a gigantic bet that could make or break it completely, the whole thing. I'm sure that it would make a gajillion dollars on the first day because everybody wants to see it.
But will it have an insane second weekend tumble? Now, as movie nerds, we're going to get a feast either way, because we're either going to get a second insane home run that no one thought would work, or we're going to get possibly one of the biggest Ishtar-level flameouts of all time.
Yes.
Because And again, I say this as a fan, this thing reeks of desperation. It pretty much feels like, as even a casual observer saw, you guys stuck the landing to legendary degree with Endgame and then kind of started to tumble. You realized you lost the public grasp and you desperately want us back. And also, you're casting Robert Downey Jr. as someone who's not Iron Man, which I will wait to see how they play it out.
We give you the one person who could play Victor Von Doom.
But you don't take your Mickey Mouse, your face of the company, the most recognizable one that even an 80-year-old on her deathbed grandma knows, and think of someone else to play it.
Which is odd because he had such a huge success with Dolittle.
Initial release of wind.
That's really what we have to blame for this. He did Dolittle, and he was like, "Get me back in the Marvel Universe."
No matter what.
No matter
I'll bring
what
coffee on set.
it takes. No matter what it takes. Now, it feels like that's indicative of everything right now because you can see the cracks. Now, there's a movie coming out now that I have not seen yet, neither have you. But The Mandalorian and Grogu is dropping this week. Now, again, we have not seen this, but I feel like what I want to do with this is kind of just try to talk out and have a loose discussion of who should we blame for this incessant infection of nothing but IPs. No more fight clubs, no more original things, no more adult dramas, no more movies that aren't superhero that capture the zeitgeist. Sometimes not even any more superheroes that capture the zeitgeist because they say the monoculture, the pop culture is kind of disintegrated.
The only original stories-ish are mainly horror.
Yes.
That's the only one. I mean, there's still
the IP infection.
Scream 7 and
again,
all the rest.
probably no worse example than Scream 7. Okay, thank you. That's there was another one I wanted to see because my philosophy here is you're shown the cracks. Look, we know the hero's journey exists, and damn near every story in a basic building blocks is the same, has the same formula. When it becomes and we all know the cliche of Hollywood is money hungry and not operating with their heart in the right place. Old news, not interesting to talk about, but I think the problem is you start to see the cracks. Now, in the case of Scream 7, love him or hate him, we started to set up a new group of people with 5 and 6. It even kind of came during the birth of Jenna Ortega as a zeitgeisty A-lister by the time she got to Scream 6. But then after that, we saw, what was it, the friggin' Melissa Barrera, I hope I'm getting her name correct, our lead from the newer Screams, made some comments about Palestine, was axed from there. Jenna, whether in support of her friend or because her schedule was just too busy because she's the it girl, got out of there. I think did the director or the radio silence jumped off, whether or not that was creative or they wanted to do something else, but they got Nev back, which every fan wanted, but again, felt like a knee-jerk reaction to, oh crap, we fired our other people, brought Matthew Lillard back, which again, I think every human being on earth not named Quentin, I'm a douchebag, Tarantino wanted to see Matthew Lillard back.
Surprise, Cindy. Do you need a minute? Oh my gosh, it looks like you need a minute. I'll wait.
I love your movies, Quentin, but why the hell are you talking about Lillard? You could get checked, man.
I love Matthew Lillard, too.
Yeah, he loves him, too, and he hates Quentin Tarantino because he's an unoriginal hack. Say it. Look into the camera and say he's a hack.
Yes.
So, Scream 7 felt like you could see all the duct tape all over it. You could see that we are desperate and that this is not continuing because it needs to, but it's a franchise that makes money. Bringing Nev back felt like a desperate move. I've seen it, he hasn't, but the whole thing feels like it doesn't have a reason to exist. And our beautiful, wonderful Nev is wasted.
Where's your go bag?
And there's probably no better example of this. I'm going to take this and then shift into what I was saying with the release of Mandalorian. There's no better example of seeing the cracks of the modern IP than Rise of Skywalker, where once again, Disney, the biggest, most billions upon billions corporation in history, inheriting the biggest objectively beloved franchise, and you fumble the culmination of 40 years of a triple trilogy with the...
Somehow Palpatine returned.
Again, you can see the cracks. JJ comes in, regardless of talk about Xeroxing A New Hope, Force Awakens moves like a machine, delights fans of all ages, and is the only movie to ever start to approach $1 billion domestically. Will probably take a long time for that record to go. Rian Johnson comes in, subverts the whole thing. No one likes it, and Disney goes, Colin Trevorrow, hope I said that right, is out. We're bringing back JJ to crowd, please. And again, the whole thing stinks of you can see what they're doing.
They fly now! They fly now! They fly now!
So, Matteo, this brings us up to Mando, which we both, I think, kind of revitalized. I'm pretty sure it was post 2019 was Rise of Skywalker. Mando kind of won both of us back. We're both Star Wars fans, but not necessarily the biggest, like my peak of loving a franchise is Turtles. You're probably James Bond. We love Star Wars, but we're not obsessive. So I feel like Mandalorian, with its old school samurai, serial, cowboy adventure vibes, won us back a little bit, right?
As I told you, Mandalorian, because you introduced me to it.
Yes.
It reminded me of a story that you, as a kid, would make with the action figures
Best
of Star Wars
possible.
without being Star Wars. You know,
Yes.
it's just like you have, I have these characters. Okay, let's make a story. Blah blah blah.
Joyful.
Yes,
The spirit
yes,
was back.
exactly. And so I have to admit I haven't seen all of the seasons and stuff like that.
But you saw enough to internalize it and like
yes.
it.
And I enjoy because I thought that it was a variation on the theme, if you will. It doesn't have to be every 2 seconds. Oh, remember these characters. Oh, remember that character. Oh, we did this. Oh, the whatever, the Han Solo. When in Han Solo, they would say, and the dice that he has on the.
No, the worst effect of all time, which I can't believe exists, is
I don't have people. I'm alone.
Solo. That is a parody. That is something.
Yes.
Ugh.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
So, we have The Mandalorian, a mega hit, and I feel like this is kind of a great chance, and again, I have not seen this, but it's old Rotten Tomatoes Jason here, who swears by getting some info. Again, it's not law, Matteo. I know they get mad. They're like, you actually trust, I get it. It's not law. But right now, The Mandalorian and Grogu is sitting at 60%.
Oh.
And with a quick perusal, I feel like what this is once again, you can see the fumbling. We are past the point of the zeitgeist. We are past the point of the buzzy popularity. Now, Matteo, you said you haven't seen the whole story, rather. So let me give you a little quick cliff notes. After season 2, which I believe Mando season 1 or 2 are honestly about as close to perfect as stuff can get, I fully swear by it. Amazing, classic serial adventure vibes, very in the spirit of what Lucas wanted, I think, to begin with. They did Book of Boba Fett, where
Right. Yeah.
I didn't know this, but apparently I think The Mandalorian happened because they had something where they couldn't do Boba Fett, so they did this instead. And I think when they knocked it out of the park with Mando, who again, same Boba outfit, different colors, I think they gave the series that every Boba Fett fan wanted forever, to the point where when Boba, who does show up in season 2, gets his own show to continue this, he feels like a pointless side character. He doesn't do much. It's an older Boba. He's got a woman right-hand person, assassin, that kind of does everything. And he just felt like relegated to a side character in his own show. The show wasn't that good. Mando showed up for 2 full episodes, just completely sidetracking Boba in his own show. And then season 3 of Mando was not terrible. Not terrible, but it kind of lost the lackluster. It wasn't as good. And forgive me if I'm spoiling, but I think realistically it would take you forever to get to this. Do you know what happens at the end of 2 where Luke Skywalker comes back to get Grogu?
Yeah, I remember that. Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
So, beautiful thing. Definitely one of those nerd tearjerkers. I have to imagine people who were fans of Luke were crying their eyes out like this. And then, of course, Disney being Disney is like, well, we need to bring back Grogu to sell toys, so they reunite. He gets them and they team up again. So, this movie does not feel like a movie. It does not feel like they want to take it as a self-contained adventure that stands on its own.
Hey, never touch the buttons.
It feels like we need to continue our content past when you guys have already gobbled this up, after we've already lost some of the face with season 3. And from what I understand, it feels like this is 3 episodes shoved together rather than a movie, and they're just trying to continue it, that it doesn't feel necessarily like it has a reason to exist. And yes, internet, to be fair, I haven't seen it, maybe I'll love it, but my gut tells me, in the spirit of this modern IP discussion, that this is the nature of the beast, that they simply want to push out more content. There's not a definitive reason for it to exist. It is not a story that needs to be told. You guys already ruined their reunion, and it just feels like more of the same.
Strap in.
Again, I haven't seen it, but my gut tells me this is kind of what it is, and this seems like Matteo would kind of infects it. I can't see these original movies without thinking what's been lost. You're a fan of the Oscars. I think you'll realize that the years where we already had this problem, it's gotten worse than ever. The years where the common Joe, the average schlub, would know the nominees because they actually had broken pop culture.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
And mostly, it's this Mandalorian should justify why leaving home, where you have the Mandalorian on television, why leaving home to go see it. So that has to give you something that you don't see on TV. That's also one of the things.
As Ryan Gosling said.
I think, obviously, theaters need you, but it's not your job to keep them open. It's our job to make things that make it worth you coming out.
So I then, perfect segue to ask you, this is the modern problem, I feel like. We don't do original movies. We don't do movies that are movies. We don't have correctors' creative vision. Wow, look at that switch flop. We don't have directors' creative vision. So Matteo, just simply asking your opinion, who is to blame? Is there a finger that we can point to someone? Who is to blame for this? Is it audiences? Is it studios? Is it a hopelessly symbiotic relationship? Because there's things like the Mario movie, like Moana 2, like the Lilo and Stitch live action, which just kind of feel like, all right, I'm sure a lot of families went and enjoyed them, but they also seem like creatively they're blah, but they make bank. So in a world of realism, what the hell do you expect studios to do with the data? Tell me, going nothing but your personal experience, where do you think, who's to blame here? Is this just a symbiotic thing? Are audiences to blame for not showing up? Are studios getting lazy? What's the Molinari's take?
It's weird. I am not sure about it. Because if you... it's kind of like when you go to a buffet of okay stuff, that maybe people eat more of one because it's the okayest of everything. And so they say, oh, people love that. I said, no, they like that out of this
That's just
offering.
what they ate the most of.
Yeah, and also because you're giving me only this. You're not giving me different options or different, so I go with that. And true, I'm guilty that usually if I go to a restaurant, when they were affordable without opening a new mortgage, I order always the same stuff because I know...
We've talked about it. You get scared you're not going to have the joy.
Yes,
You're
exactly.
try something new and the joy is robbed of the meal.
And so they repurpose the exact same thing over and over and over and over again till at a certain point people will break. Now, I'm very curious, for instance, right now that Amazon has spent, I don't know how much, in redoing Harry Potter.
Oh.
Are you really Harry Potter?
And it seems so...
Yeah, thank you. Another perfect example. Why?
recent.
For that matter, the Moana live action, I think more than Moana 10 years ago?
Yeah.
Within a decade, you're getting the reimagining?
Yeah.
Maui, shapeshifter, demigod of the wind and sea, hero of men. Ah, women. Women too, men and women.
And so, I don't know, and people probably, they're getting also lazy and there is no, I don't want to say sophistication because it seems so snob as a term.
But here's the thing, I understand it always sounds, you start to feel the pretentiousness creep in, but I think you're right that, again, when I was watching Fight Club, I was enjoying it, but in the back of my mind, my jaw was agape like, oh, I shouldn't have been defending modern movies. Like, no joke, something like Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die switched my brain to now where I'm like, okay, it might be good, but it's a franchise. It's just even my beloved Martin, look, I want Doomsday to work, but I don't know, I just have different glasses on, because, dude, Fight Club, love it or hate it, there is a vision at work there. Yeah. It's uncompromising, it's gutsy, it's got balls. Someone wanted to make something that could replay. I really love what you said about Mando needs to give people a reason to see something they won't get on the couch, because I think it might be enormously fun.
Are you scared? You should be.
Do we run? Or do we fight?
I like this kid.
But it's no way in hell is it going to be, you have never, like, you need to get off your ass and see this. Yeah. So that's why I'm just wondering, maybe it's just hopelessly a symbiotic dance, but correct me if I'm wrong, I think Solo, speaking of Solo, the grosses were low, and that's when Disney pumped the brakes and said, I think they canceled Obi-Wan because of that. They didn't make it into a series.
Boba Fett also.
Boba Fett, I think, was poorly received. But the point is that it's never, a lot of times these conversations can have idealism as to what money is, but money not being made is always something you can bet on. That's always realism. So like, Solo grosses aren't great. Let's pump the brakes. I feel like this will work.
What are you waiting for?
I feel like you can see the backlash happening, like when the recent live-action Moana trailer dropped. I feel like there was a ton of backlash happening over how bad The Rock's hair looked or how crappy the CGI looked, like a Sprint Mobile commercial, AT&T Mobile commercial, some type of phone commercial, I forget what they said. But I remember watching one guy who was complaining about it, but then finished with, of course I'll see it. That's where it gets interesting, because it's like, no, don't see it and send a message. It's not about money, it's about sending a message.
You're welcome.
But I just feel like, and again, I'm sure with something like Moana 2 or Moana the live-action remake, both of which I think Moana 2, even by people that liked it, were like, it's not really, it doesn't need to be a movie. Probably you get dragged by the kids and you kind of have to. And you know, what parent is going to be like, well, we're not going to go to Moana 2 because my creative sensibilities feel like, sweetie, that Disney, like, no, it's not going to happen. So there is that, but it just feels like there is a symbiotic relationship to where Hollywood's like, well, they showed up, so that again? And then they're like, oh, no, that again, but also let's go see it. It's like, he hit me, but he apologized. He hit me, but he apologized, and don't.
But, like, for instance, you remember when we watched the movies like Casablanca? No, sorry, what an idiot. Chinatown.
Yes.
Or you had to follow them.
Oh, absolutely.
And back then, which I'm not talking about centuries, it was not even 50 years ago, some of these movies, we were okay with that. We were going to the movies and we say, that's what is happening. Now people are getting, I hate to say this, but dumber and dumber, either because...
No, the phone is doing, that's the thing is, no joke, I think when I was younger, I kind of saw that as a, okay, boomer argument. No, I completely get that. The phone is destroying our attention spans 1,000%. I feel bad for even slightly not bending the knee to that argument.
And so you have movies where they have to recap after 20 minutes what just happened so that people know where we're at, and which is terrible.
And it also ends up having an effect, or is starting to have an effect on how you make movies. Like, for instance, Netflix, it wouldn't be terrible if you reiterated the plot 3 or 4 times in the dialogue because people are on their phones while they're watching, you know what I mean?
So that's why I feel like it really is a circle of enablers where we keep acting bad and they keep making stuff based on it.
And so that's why they found, I don't want to say a formula, which is horrible to say, but they found that, we have to make a movie like this, that you have 20 minutes and then a recap, and then 20 minutes and then a recap. And you have an audience that are distracted, either naturally or because they've been programmed to be distracted. And so I honestly don't know if 50 years from now, the format of a movie, of 2 hours movie, still exists.
I can use some information.
Well, something really potent that, again, helped this be like a revelation to me is the adult... I don't know if blockbuster is the word, but I have a great example because I started to realize, like, I don't know why my brain always goes to Michael Douglas movies like Basic Instinct or Fatal Attraction is not him, but those two I think always go together in my head. But the idea that those were mega successes and adult...
He is in Fatal Attraction.
He's in both.
Yes.
That's why I was doing it. This is why I have this guy here. This is all gone, folks, okay? Weed abuse is a real thing, and it is bad. I apologize. It's all going to slop. Movies like those, and I have a great example because, I forget, Matteo, sadly, I do not see movies with the Italian as much as I used to. Did you see The Holdovers with Paul?
No.
God Among Men Giamatti? Well, I feel bad for you, and we should watch it right now. Stop filming this. Okay. It is gorgeous. I fell in love with it.
I don't give a shit. I said I don't give a shit.
But that movie did a middling gross, came out, and movies like it now feel like a limited indie release, as opposed to years past in the name of a Basic Instinct, a little different tone, but The Holdover should have been on the top 10 list up there with superhero movies because a well-made, emotional, character-based drama with a kick-ass actor. Giamatti is so good in it. It should
always good
have the ability to grab that spot, and in fact it used to. And The Holdovers feeling like a little whatever also ran. That was in theaters for 5 minutes when, in my personal opinion, but I think most people's, the level of quality there is so high. I would love to know what you think of it. The level of quality to me is so high, and it just would never stand a chance in hell. And I think central to the IP discussion is stuff that is not kind of movie-goer, asses in seats catnip. Ooh, bang, bang, slam, big over-the-top explosions, characters you already knew and loved, Star Wars, familiarity, is just not going to work. Again, a Fight Club, which is a wallop, will never be able to strangle the zeitgeist again. Weapons did, but I think that's kind of like you said, horror has this interesting thing where it's bulletproof because the basic boo, ooh, is kind of squishes it, compartmentalize it to a thrill ride where it's like...
mostly it's kind of like universal.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, do you want to go on a roller coaster versus do you want to see a French surrealist drama? The first one is like, oh, woo, oh no, scary, fun. And this is why I think horror movies do very well and then hilariously always have a C-grade cinema score because people want to be scared. People don't want art pieces. That's why the A24 effect happens where the critics love it and the audience is like, what? So Weapons kind of reminds me of doing very nice bank with an original story. But dude, I just think it's over unless it's an IP.
Yeah.
And I don't see the wave breaking and rolling back, as Hunter S. Thompson once said about the psychedelic era.
Also because they were saying, a lot of company were saying, even if we find the littlest indie movie that cost $500,000 and it's a fantastic movie at a festival, what are we going to do with that? Because the machine to give some publicity, it's something already between $10 to $20 million. And you're going to invest the $10 to $20 million on a $500,000 movie? Maybe not.
Yeah.
You know? So it's weird because either there should be another Sundance. Sundance is kind of like Sundance Festival is kind of like dead. I remember Robert Redford, who founded it, he said, when I saw Paris Hilton there, I say, okay, it's over.
The same thing people said about Cat in the Hat. Flawless reference, if you know. I don't mean to toot my own horn, but that was a flawless joke.
Very true.
No, yeah, dude, there needs to. Well, I don't. That was why I wanted to discuss this because I hate to be a negative Nancy, but I don't see how to break the pattern because the at-home viewing habits, the lack of theatrical attendance, I obsessively follow the box office numbers, and this year feels like we're doing decently, to be fair, but I just don't see breaking the forward. The same thing I say about AI, no matter how you feel about it, it feels like it's inevitable. The shift, the Ted Sarandos shift to at-home viewing just feels inevitable. So I don't know how you combat this effect.
Well, yeah, because at home you have a theater now. You just when in the 70s, the 80s, the 90s even.
You didn't. You simply did not have that setup.
The biggest TV was like this, and I said, oh my God. So you have a reason to go to the movies. And to go to a theater to see a movie that is not special effects and not explosions, stuff like that, I can watch it home and I have the exact same emotion, which is sad. I understand the logic. I understand also the economy of not going to the movies versus watching it at home. But the problem also is just that the audiences are not, they prefer to a degree slop that something. I remember when we saw Young Frankenstein in theaters, even if I was a kid, I understood that it was a parody of something that already existed because I had seen the original Frankenstein. And when there were people discussing about it, I would get it, what they were saying. Probably now it would just like water on a duck. People would say, no, I don't get it. I don't know what is. I mean, I know people who have never seen Jaws, they've never seen movies that you say, oh, I thought that was
a common thing. I thought that was like
Yes.
a rite of passage.
I don't think he knows what he's doing.
Well, you know what? I've always been a little generous with, like, me and you have bonded over being grammar Nazis and wanting to be really proper in our writing. And while I do believe in that, if someone is not a writer, a reader, and doesn't care about doing it, I can't fault them for not being as hyper attuned to it. It may still be annoying. And I say this to segue into, okay, if you're just some dude with movies, I'll accept it. What worries me is, I don't know if you've heard this, they're saying that film professors at college are saying they can't get the film students to sit through an entire movie. Yeah. Now, when that's apparently what you want to do, again, if you're just some dude, fine. I'm not going to go all movie nerd, cinephile, militant on you, whatever. Maybe I'm the douchebag. But if you say this is what you want to do, and we're at the point where you can't focus on a movie, then if the people that want to do it can't even do it, then your worst fear of the art form completely collapsing, I'll be very interested to see what Mando does this weekend. By the time you're watching this, it probably will be out. But again, I'll be interested to see, let's say, the grosses in general are, if it ends up being a solo. Because I'm just like, I feel like people are starting to see the slop more. But then also, again, like Lilo and Stitch and Moana and these stuff do just bank. Or should I say, those are the only ones doing bank. And, you know, Minecraft may be fun, but that and Super Mario were in a race for the top spot. And it's like, there used to be a holdovers thrown in there. It used to be actually the top 10 list has some adult dramas or original stories or something. So, look, as usual, we're nobodies without answers, but is there a way out? Do we have to put our foot down and just not go to the cinemas? And then they're like, uh-oh, well, money is the baseline, so they probably still wouldn't learn the lesson. They might stop making stuff.
No,
but
because they will pump more movies on streaming.
This is all Ted Sarandos' fault. Ted, you big, stupid asshole. Matteo, I don't know, but I feel like this little wide-eyed movie idealist right here sees the cracks more and more, and I don't know, man. I don't know.
No, it's very hard because you should retrain people in watching movies. And if I show you a movie, like the other day, for instance, I watched Earthquake, 1974, I believe. And yes, his mannerism of that era. But I thought that it was thoroughly enjoyable. But I was also reminded as I was watching it that my nephew, who is 20-something years younger than me, one day he said, oh yeah, our friends, we watched The Exorcist, but we fast forward to the scary parts, but it was boring.
And Mateo's, let me tell you something, I've known this man for a while, his heart shattered into a million pieces with that. He still, look at the look on his face, he still hasn't recovered.
Nope.
No, that really kind of sums it up, dude. I feel like, you know what, I'm old man Jason now. The phones did it. I'm completely on board because I feel the effect. I haven't been reading and I'm terrified, and I blame the scrolling for that. Yeah. So guys, I don't know. What are you guys out there, if you've stayed in this far, bless us with a comment. Tell us, do you agree, do you disagree, are you disgusted by it? Maybe like last time you find that I'm a hard host to watch and I'm annoying. Drop a comment that says that. We're f***ing drowning. We want to hear what you movie nerds have to say. We love this stuff. That's why we still do it. That's why we still meet up and sit on the couch with this, my Italian buddy here. We love this stuff. Drop a comment, guys. Bless us with a like. Subscribe if you stayed this far.
Tell us which one is the oldest movie you've ever watched.
That's a good one. Tell us what's the oldest movie you've watched. Tell us if you're going to see Mando. Tell us anything. Let's get the discussion going. We love you guys. We love this stuff. So, from our couch to yours, in this IP-soaked modern movie world, one thing you can count on is that this was, throw in the focus box again, a jam! Whoop-de-doo, Basil.
Underwhelming as a John. Oh well.
This isn't about revenge. It's about preventing another war.
MaJaMa. MaJaMa.
bunch of helpless jackasses!